All right.
Hello, welcome back to the PantherKing Podcast. I'm joined here with Jake, the owner of Premier Wrestling Federation, owner of CWA, Carolina Wrestling Academy. How you doing, Jake?
I'm doing fine, Ben.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
You could call me by my first name. So, how long have you been doing this, like wrestling? How long have you been wrestling for?
I've been wrestling. I'm coming up on my 12th year this year. I started training 12 years ago, right around this time. It was like March or April I started training.
Cool. So what inspired you to do this?
I've always loved it since I was a kid. It's what I always wanted to do. I either wanted to be a professional wrestler or I wanted to be on Saturday Night Live. Those are like my two dreams. I always loved comedy and I always loved wrestling. So becoming a wrestler seemed like a more viable path for me than getting onto Saturday Night Live. So here I am, wrestling.
What wrestlers help you find your help you out, would say inspire your character and your moveset and stuff like that? What do you think helped
Rick
you?
Rude. Rick Rude is my favorite wrestler of all time. I think he's underappreciated. I feel like he's ahead of his time, and I think he did a great job of blending multiple styles, like Southern, Japanese, WWF, like TV style. Like he did a really great job of back in the day where people didn't really blend styles. So
Right.
I feel like he's kind of an unsung hero of doing that.
Right.
So Rick Rude is the answer. I love Rick Rude. Rude Awakening was my first finisher ever in wrestling because I love Rick Rude so much.
All right. So what would you say is your main goal out of wrestling? Would it be just to be able to say make it to WWE or to inspire a future generation to help get into the business?
That's a good question. Right now, so my goals have probably been changing as I get older and more involved in wrestling. I want to be able to do everything, so I can be an asset for something, or if like you said, if I just inspire the next generation, I'm fine with that too. I just love wrestling, and I love every aspect of it. I love ring announcing. I love commentary. I love being a manager. I love producing. I love coaching. I feel like I am an asset to professional wrestling, and if it makes me money one day, cool. If it doesn't, cool. I'm going to keep doing it no matter what. So, yeah.
All right. So, Carolina Wrestling Academy, when did you start this? Or was it or did somebody else start it?
Steve Carino started it back in like 2014, 2015, something like that. And when he went off to WWE, when he got hired by WWE to be a coach at the Performance Center, he left this guy named Rob in charge, and he kind of ran it through Rob by proxy, and it got to a point where we lost our last building that we were training in,
Right.
and they were like, well, we might just shut it down, because by then all the students at the time were kind of trained. It was like Bojack, Antonio Ways, Patrick Scott, Donnie Ray. Those were like our only students, and they were pretty much already taking bookings, and they're like, all right, we're just going to shut the school down and the promotion down. So, well, how about I just buy it off you guys?
Right.
And it was right after Hurricane Florence, and I had a big insurance check, which I fixed my roof with first, and then I had some money left over, so I bought the promotion and the ring and the school. And then I became the owner and head coach.
So when did you become the owner of Carolina Wrestling Academy?
Florence was 2019?
I believe so.
Yeah, so 2019.
So, as far as, because I'm grateful for being able to do this, and you being a great teacher, because I've been wanting to do this for since I was 12 years old, from watching Undertaker and Triple H at WrestleMania 27, because that was the match. Because I was after a soccer game, and we were kind of messing around, and then all of a sudden Undertaker and Triple H was on there, and I was like, this is awesome, I want to try to do this. And wrestling was not my first passion, but it was flying, but yet for some reason wrestling was just coming back and forth, and I was like, and then a couple of years ago I was like, I want to do this. And around last summer I was looking I was like, you know what, I'm going to try to look. I was like, I was been looking, and then this place popped up, which I didn't know about. And I was like, you know what, I'm just going to ask Chris, one of my high school friends. And he sent me, hey, we're having a free day next Sunday. It's like email. It's like immediately after that, emailed them, and here I am. But so, and it was just like one of the greatest things because I was looking up online like how other people would treat like the trainees, and it wasn't nice at all. And I didn't know what to expect walking day one. This place was just open arms.
Yeah.
So
a lot of thank you. I appreciate you appreciating it. A lot of schools have an old school mentality, and that it's just we're gonna beat you up until you figure it out, and they don't tell you a lot. And I don't think that's conducive in 2021 or 2019 or 2020. I think there's a better way to teach, and there's probably going to be a better way to teach than what I'm doing now 10 years from now.
Right.
You need to constantly be able to evolve in pro wrestling, or else you'll just be irrelevant, because a lot of people think I learned this way, it's the only way, and that's
Right.
just wrong. Like, there's 1,000 ways to do something right, and so I learn new stuff all the time, and I'm excited to learn new things all the time, so then I can broaden my horizons in terms of my knowledge to where I can share with you guys and my
Right.
students.
And so as far as shows, like because like before COVID happened, where did you normally do your shows at? Because I know you you post on Twitch, it's just the building that we're in currently.
Right. So we used to have them at the Hubert Bingo Hall, which we named Hashimoto Hall, which Steve Carino learned so much from Shinya Hashimoto over in Japan that we named the building after him, because without Hashimoto, Steve wouldn't be where he is today. So we
Right.
respect those that come before us. That part in the old school wrestling mentality hasn't changed, and it shouldn't. Because you have to respect those that came before you, and when you do that, it just shows appreciation for the sacrifices that these people made with their bodies. I mean, these guys beat the hell out of their bodies to where they can hardly walk when they're in their 60s. Like they walk like they're Cotton Hill from King of the Hill that don't have shins. Like they can't
Right.
bend their knees.
Right.
So to pay tribute to them is an important part of the
Right.
wrestling industry.
Right. So if you had any places that you would love to wrestle at, or be a commentator for, what business or place would you love to do that for?
I would want to do it for WWE or AEW mainly. Outside of, because I want to get paid a lot of money to do it.
Right.
That's pretty cool, obviously.
Right.
But a lot of my friends are there, so and that's my favorite thing in wrestling, is when I garner the respect of my peers.
Right.
That's
like you could do something with your friends, you and your friends always have fun together.
Right, exactly. And when you have fun, I think that translates to a better product that you put out there. So I'd want to hang out with my friends. So WWE or AEW, because I got a bunch of friends there.
Right. So so as far as the indie scene, as far as it is right now, where do you think who's the biggest indie star right now?
Biggest indie star right now.
It's a good question, right?
It is a good question, because everybody's getting scooped up.
Right.
There probably isn't a single
person, but you can
Right.
list off a lot of top ones.
I mean, if we count ROH as an indie, I don't even know if we
Right.
do.
I don't know if it even considered, because they do have a TV deal or something like that.
right. So
You can if you want to.
yeah, but basically anybody that's on Beyond is one of the Beyond Wrestling is one of the I would say the upper echelon of the indie circuit. I don't even think PWG really runs anymore. I'm not even sure. Maybe they do. I don't know. But basically anyone that's on Beyond, whoever's the champion at Beyond, champion of the IWTV, those guys are the cream of the crop in terms of the indies right now, in my opinion.
All right. So, how long do you think you'd be able to keep on wrestling, or keep on training the new generation?
I think I can keep training forever. I think I see myself being 60 and still training people. In terms of wrestling, as long as my body is able to go, which the only thing that's bad on me right now is my knees.
Which I've been told that's like the first thing to go is your knees and your shoulders.
Yeah. So as long as my body, I would love to be wrestling in my 60s, and I've always had that in mind. Like, I'm always very judicious about how many bumps I'm going to take here, there. That seems dangerous. I don't want to do it. Like, I'm always very careful with my body because I want to have a nice long career.
Right.
A lot of guys, when they first get in, they just want to go, like, they want to have every match be a train wreck, and that's just not conducive for...
Like, it won't be, like, healthy for your body in the long run.
Correct. Yeah.
Right.
You might be fine in your 20s and
like your
early
30s.
30s.
Like, early 30s
late,
and 40s.
Late 30s, you're like, wow, everything hurts all the time.
Right.
So...
I mean, like, as far as, like, talent as I see, like, from what I can tell, like, talent is, like, going through the roof because you get a more athletic bodies than you have, like, from the 80s. Like, if you take a look from the 80s and now, like Shawn Michaels, like, you could say was, like, if you put Shawn Michaels in our generation now, like, he would, like, blend in perfectly. You wouldn't be able to tell.
Right. Yeah, and that's a good point. Like, we're getting away from the giant bodybuilding days where you look amazing, but you're like you alluded to, you're just not as athletic as today's athletes are. With when you have the science of exercise evolve with the CrossFits and the plyometrics and everything like that, that lends itself to the actual movements in the ring that will help you look cool, stay safer. I mean, it's just better. The science is in on just like not having a giant blocky body that's not able to move fluidly.
Right.
So that's a good astute point. That you...
Like, I think Undertaker, like, as far as the big man, like, he was like phenomenal as far as for his size, able to do that. Brock Lesnar is probably another guy you can add to that list.
Brock Lesnar is probably the greatest wrestler of all time, probably.
Right, because of her size and speed that he's able to go for, like, it's just insane.
Yeah, Brock Lesnar's amazing. He's amazing.
Right, and which, like, as far as, like, big man, like, for Undertaker, like, for him able to do a suicide dive, like, over the top rope and able to do some stuff like that for his size, like, you never saw that, like, in the 80s and 90s, but yet, I don't think, but you think he was the first person to do it?
Probably not. But I don't know who the first person to do that was. I'm sure there was someone his size that did it.
Right.
I mean, there's always someone bigger that can do fancier moves.
Right.
So it's about making moments out of those moves,
right,
more so than the moves themselves.
Which, as far as, like, any wrestler from past, present, or future, like, who do you think would had the biggest impact out of, like, today's generation? Like, who do you think would inspire this generation the most?
So, which famous wrestler?
Like, or just, like, any wrestler for this point, like, from 80s to now, or
well,
like
Hulk Hogan's the number one. He's the biggest draw of all time.
Right.
Then after that, I would say this generation is, like, inspired by probably John Cena, Batista.
Right.
My generation's, like, straight up Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart.
Right.
And then the generation after me, I'd say, is probably Cena, probably Lesnar too. Cena, Lesnar, Batista, Edge, Orton, like, all those guys. I would say it's basically whoever you watched when you're, like, 7.
Right.
Like, when you watch when you're a kid, that's who you're inspired by. That's just what it is.
So, like, I'm trying to think of a way. As far as, like, New Japan, do you think they're, like, a big stepping stone into helping someone's career to go off into, like, go off in the future? Because you have, like, Chris Benoit, Chris Jericho, who came from New Japan, and yet, you know, Chris Jericho's like still like, and it's basically his, I don't want to say prime, but he's still kicking ass.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I like to always say that a wrestler has a toolbox. And in your wrestling toolbox, you place as many tools as you possibly can. Whether it's lucha, whether it's like a Memphis style, if it's strong style like Japanese, if it's just traditional TV tapings, like every skill that you can harness is absolutely going to help you in the future, because it's just especially when you're trying to become a worldwide draw. Like if you're famous, I went to Mexico, I became famous. I went to Japan, I became famous. I did a tour of Europe and I got over. And like, if you can get over in front of different crowds, then you can get over anywhere. So,
right.
You know, those are the tools that you're looking to put in that toolbox. And yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if anybody can go to Japan, you're gonna be tougher. You're gonna like, because they hit harder. They just do. They just hit harder, and they take riskier bumps, and it'll make a man out of you. It just will.
So for anyone who's like watching this or hearing this, like what would you say to them who want to try and do wrestling?
I would say research good schools, and there's a lot of good schools. There's some bad ones, obviously, but there's plenty of great schools. There's a good school in South Carolina that Ethan Case runs. Palmetto, I can't remember the name of the school, but Ethan Case is a good guy. Right. LeBron Cozone at Firestar, he creates, you know, good wrestlers over there. Josh Gary at AML, they create good wrestlers, and that's just here in the Carolinas. Like, there's great Lance Storm's a great trainer. The Monster Factory, I don't even know if they call it that anymore. But Danny Cage is a great trainer. There's just so many good trainers in the world. So I mean, just like you would with anything else, just do your research. Show up. If they're treating you, there's a difference between toughening you up and abusing you. So usually if there's going to be abuse, you're going to find that on the internet ahead of time.
Right.
So just do your research and trust your gut, you know.
I mean, shucks, I'm still here.
Yeah, you are. You're doing great too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, do you have any questions or anything to ask?
How long have you been doing your podcast?
I think I just started like last week. You'll be my second person on it.
Woo! Number 2's the best. Second's the best. Everybody knows that.
But yeah, I'm always looking forward to trying out new things. In which this was like, I always wanted to try and do something, like, because I did YouTube like my junior year, but I was off and on with it. But I like a podcast. All I gotta do is just bring my phone and audio record, set a background up, be done with it. And but again, it's always trying to figure out something to inspire you and something to keep you going. And which, like, I've said this before in last one, like when I was going from like all week in the entire month of January, I was like, I couldn't think of nothing but trying to get back here and trying to improve and bust my ass and try to get back. And
that's the bug, man. You got bit by the bug.
And now just like, and just that it won't turn off. But like, even though like soreness was coming away, I'm like, I still gotta try and go and do. But and I'm just thankful that I am able to go as far as I can. And I didn't expect to referee matches until like September, and show just aired Friday, and that was like my first time refereeing matches. So
that's how you start, man.
Expectations exceeded.
do the best you can, or do any job that's given to you to the best of your ability, and you'll go far. That's like my number one. That's my number one advice. If someone tells you to ring the bell, you be the best fucking bell ringer I've ever seen. You know what I mean?
Right.
Someone tells you to go get the entrance gear, be the best entrance gear guy. Someone tells you to set the ring up, be the best ring setup guy. If you work hard, people will notice, and you'll always have something to do in pro wrestling.
Right.
That's just what it is.
All right. Well, thanks for
having me.
Right.
Absolutely. Goodbye, Internet.
All right, goodbye, and we'll see you sometime soon.
Bye.